And now we are live. Except my video is off. I think it's probably because I've got YouTube up in a different window.
Oh, it's dragging too much on your live stream.
Off. It's probably because I've got YouTube up. Oh, in a different window. As you can hear.
Oh, it's dragging too much on your live stream. Oh my God.
Off. It's probably because I've got YouTube up. Oh, in a different window. As you can hear. Okay. Sorry, I've got the YouTube channel up, and it's broadcasting on YouTube now, which I may not be able to watch. That's why I was trying to get my iPad on a different network so that I could have YouTube up, the live stream up through YouTube so I could see it, but I don't know if if it's a drag on my internet or just too much for my computer.
That might be it. Yeah.
Because the phone, which is connected to the same internet connection, no problem whatsoever, the live feed into the stream. Or into the live feed into the event thread. No problem with that. So we will get out of here. Let's just close Firefox. I think it's just too much for my computer. Trying to tell me I need to upgrade my computer probably. Because that's something I really want to do right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started and see if other people are able to jump in.
Okay.
Let's see. I want to keep it up so I can see if anything happens in it. So we are discussing episode 5, which is Untimely Resurrections.
Okay.
Just a second here. What the heck? Next week, I will be much more organized. I thought I was going to be all, organized and ready to go because I've been up since a stupid time this morning and I've been out running and
yeah. So you do all the other stuff and then the day catches up with you.
Yeah. Well, all the animals had to go to the vet.
Oh.
So I had 3 animals at the vet at 2:00 because it's vaccine time. Woo-hoo!
Jeez.
Yeah.
Be like herding kids or something. It'd be the same thing. 3
yeah,
kids.
Well, it's a matter of needing to find my... There it is. Okay, just having the thing play so I can kind of see and don't forget stuff. Yeah. So Untimely Resurrections, and we kind of all knew that it was probably going to be, what's his name? Because most people, even the non-book viewers, were pretty sure that.
Yeah, he wasn't as dead as they wanted to.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite that dead.
The reports of his death were.
Yeah,
what is that?
highly exaggerated.
Yeah, whatever the 20 quote is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the title card, we're kind of back to not the exact same thing we've had, the ones I really liked from last season. because it was just the grooming of the horses.
Right.
Grooming of the horses, and then, as I think it was T-Sats who said, Scott and Sassenach said that they felt like that was representational of everything where we are now in the French court being appearances,
right,
and preparation, and then I saw that last horse that they showed throwing that blanket over.
Yeah, isn't that the one that was old?
That's what I was thinking, that it was the one that they were trying to pass off as something else, you know, as a 3-year-old, as Jamie said, they were supposedly a 3-year-old.
Yeah, it's seen a few seasons past 3 or something. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too.
I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely representational of all the, you know, everybody playing. They're playing roles that aren't them.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. And then we open. Where did we open? I'm trying to see here. Oh, just we're showing. Excuse me, the cleanup from the night before. We kind of picked up. Not too long after we left off last week.
It couldn't have been, because the candles were still, you know, they weren't burned down, and if they'd been burning all night, I'm sure they would have been gone. Because I thought that too. I thought, is this the next day? But it couldn't have been. It had to have been late.
Yeah, no, I think it had to have been like right after the gendarmes showed up and arrested everybody.
Right, right.
And carted off, you know, Jamie, Murtaugh, and Alex.
Right.
And then Claire had gone off. She's already changed. So she's already back in that dressing gown.
Uh-huh.
So they just were kind of showing this passage of time, which, again, this was taken right from the book. I mean, this whole everybody being carted off and her sitting up all night with Fergus.
Right, right. So.
And then I love, I mean, looking at when I go back and look at their apartment, their parlor, it's absolutely gorgeous. That blue with the gold trim, and so pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, we get this nice little scene with showing the closeness between Jamie and Claire, and the fact that they're, you know, they're pretty much on the same page, and just that it's a very quiet moment between the two of them.
Yes.
When they come in, and the relief on her face, and just like I said, just the ease with each other, the hand kissing, and then the soft kiss as he's carrying Fergus off, which I just loved. I loved him carrying Fergus off.
That was cute. That was good.
And then we get, again, a lot of this stuff was from the book, because we get Jamie updating Claire, which we got in the book.
Yeah.
Because he was telling her all the stuff that happened to him off screen, you know, off the page.
Yes.
So somebody was complaining about all this exposition. I think I was watching the My Outlander Purgatory people, which.
Oh. That sounds a good thing.
I like some of their stuff, but then I was just so much like their complaints about it not being like the book, not being like the book, not being like the book, made me want to shoot myself.
Yeah.
And this isn't our Jamie and Claire. It's like, well, no, it's not the book Jamie and Claire. It's the TV show Jamie and Claire. And I love the books too. And I love, I love that relationship. This is a different relationship because we're at a different spot.
Yeah.
Different things have happened. It's been a different recovery process for Jamie. It's just different. So
right.
I think some people are missing some of these very quiet, subtle moments between our on-screen characters.
Right.
Because I think I love their relationship now, once we've kind of gotten them back together. This episode I thought was full of these quiet examples of two people who were back on the, back together. They were close again. So I don't really have a problem in this episode of where they are relationship-wise.
Right. I agree.
So, and then after they've taken Fergus to bed, we get the explanation when he's telling Claire about that. Then he's asking her about the attack so they could figure out who was responsible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's when we get the whole Don Blanche explanation.
Yes.
And Jamie's kind of sheepish. Whoops, that might have been me. I think I may have mentioned something that, I was married to La Dame Blanche, and that was basically so I didn't have to sleep with the trollops and not be thought unmanly, and just telling them I was married to him. Well,
I'm glad they put all that in there.
Yeah,
kind of explains what he's struggling with. Yeah.
Yeah. And people can't have it both ways. They can't have it because there's a whole contingent of people who are really, really bashing Claire this entire episode.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't like how judgmental she is to Jamie about that whole La Dame Blanche thing. They don't,
That's a reputation. It's important because that's her reputation. She does have to deal with people, and if they are thinking she's a witch, which, as we see, going forward, that they're all, there's people that have heard it all the way up the ladder.
Yeah.
So she has to worry about that, like she says, after what happened at Cranesmere, she needs to worry about that.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, she actually forgives him pretty easily because that whole scene between the two of them at the end, she's just kind of like, gee.
Yeah.
So and then
that was cute.
Jamie back in the kilt in that next scene when he's in the wine shop or the warehouse with Murtaugh. Jamie's back in the kilt.
Right.
And I loved in the kilt. I mean, I loved the whole the look he had going on. I love this scene between the two of them. I love, Murtaugh basically coming through and saying, this is my fault. I'm so sorry. I let you down. I will never forgive myself. And then Jamie, having this whole response to that, like, you didn't let me down, but you can make it up to me by finding it out. You can help clear your own conscience by staying on top of it.
Yeah.
And finding out who did it.
Right.
And bringing me proof.
Right.
So, and we got the whole...
Yes, and he was going to send him on. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, we've got the whole oath from Murtaugh about, I will lay just vengeance at your feet. So...
Right. Yeah. That was a good one.
We've got... And that... I love the interaction between the two of them here. Sorry, I'm watching it again. I shouldn't be.
Right. Well, that's okay. You know where we're at then. I don't know what follows what, so yeah.
Yeah, well, and I've watched this a couple of times. My problem was with this, I kept wanting to watch it. Today was the first time I got to watch it on my TV.
Oh, okay.
I've watched it on my phone like 2 or 3 times, and it's so small, and I think I miss a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you need to see like Versailles and all that. That was quite a nice...
Oh, yeah, that opening shot of Versailles was just like, took my breath away.
Yeah, that was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, those gardens. And then, I mean, after the Jamie and Murtaugh scene where we get the whole I will lay just vengeance at your feet, then we get Claire going to Mary.
Right, and talking to Mary. And
this is where my issues with Claire start.
Yeah.
I mean...
Why here?
I had enough issues with her in the book, in this section.
Yeah, right.
That they added another layer to this.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of her... She's pretty pulled back and pulled into herself dealing with Mary as far as she seems trying to be pretty clinical.
Mm-hmm.
We never... And all this voiceover that we get from her, we never get anything about how the guilt that she's got to be feeling or that she should be feeling.
Okay.
Because she's the reason Mary was at l'Hôpital des Anges. She's the reason Mary was in that island.
Right.
If she had never come and never met Mary, this would never have happened to Mary.
Yeah, but that's a lot, though. I mean, that's going back a lot, you know. So.
Well, no, I'm just saying that we get all this voiceover about things that are taking place when voiceover for, if we were going to use it, I'd like to hear her inner monologue.
Right. Okay.
As far as what's going on internally with her. Because there have been a couple that are just, you know, exposition and summing up what we just saw. And it was like,
oh, okay.
You know, I saw that too. I saw that. Cool. I have a good memory. Yeah. It happened 30 seconds ago.
Right. And I think you're right there as far as the book gives you a lot of inner monologue, which makes, well, we'll get to the end of it, but yeah, I see what you're saying. But I think that scene with her and Mary was, I mean, she went to see her, she brought her some herbs, and, you know, but yeah, she was, like you said, she was clinical, and yet she's telling other people what a good friend she is, and she really isn't. You know, she's not. This girl is just somebody that's,
from what we
see, she feels responsible.
We haven't seen anything to show us that there's any kind of a relationship between these two.
No. She almost like she's taking care of her, but not, because she's so much younger, I guess. Maybe she's
Mary at Louise's, and that's all. That's the only interaction that we have actually seen between the two of them. Is a couple of different things, but with Louise. So that was that last week when she was suddenly at the hospital. It was like, well, why is she there?
Right.
So I can't blame that on Claire. I can blame that on the directors and the editors and stuff, in case they've cut stuff where we saw more of Claire and Mary together to reinforce the idea that they had a relationship outside of Louise.
They really were friends, and
so, and this is where we
part
start
of the group, this
is where the whole thing with Claire starts, when she finds out that Mary is absolutely convinced that when Claire delivers her letter, Alex is going to be released from prison, and he's going to come to her, and they can now be married. And suddenly, this is where I start having huge issues with Claire. Even more issues than I had in the book.
Right.
I mean, she doesn't burn the letter, which, you know.
Yeah, I thought she was
not burning that letter.
Oh, she burned that letter. Yeah.
But that scene between her
she
and
did the right thing.
Well, the scene between her and Alex, where she tells Alex.
Now seeing that. Yeah.
But the next scene is actually Charles.
That was.
Yeah, the next scene is actually
Charles
at the warehouse, and him telling Jamie, you know, that his backers have backed out, and good riddance, you know, as the investors.
Right.
Good riddance to them, but he's come up with, because we know he left with Saint-Germain from the dinner party, and it's like, holy crap. Now this guy's come up with this business venture. He's borrowing money. He's going to invest it with Saint-Germain, but yet he doesn't trust Saint-Germain enough to do the whole thing. So he's making Jamie deal with Saint-Germain. And Jamie's whole, you know, this whole, every time he's looking away from the prince and he's thinking to himself, he's thinking to himself like, oh, crap. It's not one thing, it's another.
Charles, at this point, he doesn't know.
No, go ahead.
But Charles doesn't know that Saint-Germain is here. Saint-Germain and Jamie, he doesn't know that. Charles doesn't know it. Not really. He's not aware of their little problem with each other, because he met him at Jamie's house. So I can see where he didn't think twice about setting up a deal between the two of them.
Well, if
put Jamie in the middle of it.
If he's still plugged into the French, you know, society, he should know that Saint-Germain and Jared are direct rivals in business.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
Yeah, but they haven't really established that in the show. They haven't established the rivalry between Saint Germain and Jared, because they don't say what he does. He's just a merchant. I mean, he's a comp, but he's a merchant too, apparently. But they don't say that he's dealing in wine or anything else
that he
as his main business.
He lost that shipment of
He what?
That first scene with him was he lost that
Of what?
port.
But did they actually say what was on the boat? The ship? I don't think they even said what it was that he lost. He just lost whatever he had on the boat. I don't think they actually said it was alcohol or anything.
Oh, I think
that it was wine. That's what I mean. They've never really established that they're in the same business.
Yeah.
I don't think. Well, I mean,
well, that's
I know what we know. I mean, we know from the book.
Yeah, because I actually think
I remember kind of dropped the ball and not.
I think there was some stuff cut out of that first episode. That first setup with Jared and the Conch, and I haven't read that script, but I should go back and read it. Because Claire says at her voiceover that while Jamie and Jared went to inspect the port, so I think there was probably some stuff there where Jared said that he now had the market cornered on this, whatever it was, because the Count was,
whatever that, the Belle Rouge, because Jamie mentions it in this episode.
In this episode, to stack it.
So,
So, and they've really calmed down Charles a little bit. I mean, in this episode, he's a little more drawn in as far as not quite so flighty, I feel like he's much more reserved and almost much more resolved. Gracie, get down. Sorry, she's got her nose in a plate that's on a tray.
Because you can see that he's not getting a lot of support. Obviously, if he's having to, I think he maybe Charles figured people will flock to him, and he's just not getting that. He's having to make his own deals and figure out how to earn the money when he thought it would be easier to drum up support, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see where, but yet he's so dismissive of Jamie as far as, well, don't bother me with, workday problems. You figure it out.
Workman detail. That's your job.
Here, I you with this deal, and here you go. Go work it out. So.
Oh, pardon me. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's showing, they're making him much more resolved now. I mean, he's much more, at least in this episode, he seemed to be much more focused on and more serious,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I kind of like that. So, and then
they had planned to upset him by
Gracie, get down.
The baby.
Sorry. Then we end up with the Alex and Claire scene, where she goes to him and says, "You need to."
Right. That was next. Okay.
Tell Mary, break off with her and let her go her own way, because you're not at all a good match or a good bet. And it was just like,
well, he's sick and he doesn't have a job, and yeah,
but I mean, she isn't doing that for Mary. She's not doing it because of Mary. She's doing it so that Mary's not distracted.
No, it's
Alex. It's totally self-serving.
Right.
So
it is absolutely.
This was they added another layer to make us.
She's trying to. Right. Yeah, she's trying to set it. She's trying to get him out of the way, so Mary will go for, she'll end up married to Black Jack. So
yeah, she's getting rid of Alex, the good guy.
Funny. Like how
so that this wonderful little friend of hers can be married to this sadist.
Right. I know, that's so bizarre. And again, we don't have the book dialogue. We don't have the book inner dialogue where she justifies it all to herself, to where you could almost understand why she's doing it. But she's just kind of doing this stuff out of the blue in the show, and it is very jarring, and it makes her look very negative, even though this is a whole negative concept. And again, I think, just like I said in the Facebook page, I give the author a lot of credit, because that's the way she wrote her. She wrote her as this little, as a selfish, in this whole situation, very selfish about it, and very short-sighted. And I thought, and it definitely came through on the show, because they don't have the whole, we're not getting her whole inner dialogue that we get in the book, that even make any sense of it. Why is she doing this? And you're right. The girl doesn't even know Jack Randall. When was all this going to do? Was Claire planning on introducing her to make sure it happens?
Yeah. And
I mean, it was just such a stupid thing.
It's ridiculous for someone who is there to change the past. That's her goal, is to change the past.
Right.
Culloden. But yet, she doesn't want to stop this other thing. She wants to make sure this other thing happens. So it's like,
right,
you can't have it both ways, because you do this one big huge thing.
And I think that, yeah, right.
Yeah, you do the one big huge thing that you're trying to have all these tiny little ripples that just keep reverberating out and reverberating out. Even a small little change can have huge catastrophic effects later on down the line. So anyway, this whole thing, I mean, the whole conversation with Alex, I hated her. I mean, I just couldn't stand what she was doing for the reason she was doing it. So that's me. Of course, I had the same issues with her in the book, as those of us in the book club found out. So we go from that terrible scene, I mean, just made me want to scratch her eyes out, to this fantastic scene between Jamie and Saint-Germain at Madame Elise's.
Oh, that was a good scene.
They're sitting, talking to each other, leaning as far away from each other as possible. They're not leaning in. They're leaning back in their chairs. Saint-Germain refuses to speak English. He only will speak French. Jamie refuses to speak French. He'll only speak in English. They are biting and cutting and telling each other flat out, I don't like you. I don't like the fact that I got to work with you, but I got to work with you. So
correct.
I love that somebody's calling this is our dark Jamie. The Jamie has a definite dark side now that they've brought out in the show. And this is dark. Jamie. When you go back and watch this and look at Jamie's face and his eyes when he's talking and dealing with Saint-Germain, there is just this intense. Oh, you can just see it. I mean, I'm watching it now going, oh my God, the looks he's given him, these little half smiles that, they're almost those, like, one of these days, bud, I'm going to get you in the dark and you're not going to come out alive. Yeah. So, I mean, that's
he suspects him of behind the attack, so.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
That was interesting. He suspects him of being the person that called that in.
That poisoned Claire. Suspects him of being the one that poisoned Claire.
Yeah, that's a good. Right. Oh yeah, that's right. And poisoned Claire. Yeah. So.
Anyway, I love that scene. It's just kind of like you just sit there. It's so juicy and crunchy between the two of them. So, and then I can't believe they're doing that whole destroying the shipment scheme.
Uh-huh.
You know, the fact they're bringing in the shipment,
Right.
and they're going to do the whole smallpox,
Right.
making smallpox on that, because that was awfully
Yeah.
complicated and convoluted in the book. I was just I had a hard time with that. I was just kind of like, oh god,
Right.
more plotting and scheming. And I
Right.
one of the reasons I read this book a couple of
Yeah.
times was it did get a little tedious
Uh-huh.
in Paris. The politicking and the scheming and all of that it was a little too much for multiple reads.
Right. I think once we're through all the Paris stuff, it'll be easier to take it all in as a whole, because we're doing it bits and pieces, and yeah, I'm getting tired of it too. So
yeah.
But once it's all done and we're past it, then looking back at it and seeing how it all played out across all these shows, I think it's going to be a lot easier to do once you can do that. This is almost something where you have to binge it because it's just so much.
Yeah, this is one of the few times that I wish it was on like a Netflix or something where you get the whole thing all at once.
Right.
And you
can watch it all.
Yeah. So, but then we get that great scene between Claire and Jamie with the apostle spoons, the gift. He's written to Jenny and asked for these, and he's obviously written to her early on when they got to Paris, because he had to write to her and then ask for them. The letter had to get there. She had to get it. Then she had to find a way to get the spoons back to them. So,
Right.
I just,
yeah.
One of those things it's an example of the fact.
I wonder where they're going to show up later.
I don't know. It's an
I want to know where those are going to show up later.
Yeah, it's a big thing for.
Yeah, it was.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
They're making a big deal out of it. It feels like it's going to be important later on.
Right. That's why I'm curious. That's the first thing I thought was, well, this is new, but they're making a deal out of it. So what is going to happen with these things? So
yeah, and then we get, like I said, this is another great scene between the two of them where she starts talking about being unsure of being a mother, which I think every expectant mother, first-time expectant mother, has those doubts. I have no idea how to be a mother. She says, I know how to deliver a baby. I know how to feed a baby. I know how to take care of a baby when it's sick, but I don't know if I know how to be a mother. And like I said, every expectant mom has those doubts and fears. But, Jamie being right in there with her and saying, what you don't know, you'll learn. We'll learn it together. We're gonna be fine. So,
and theoretically, Jamie lost his mother young too, so he doesn't real of the mother. I mean, other than his younger years. So yeah, yeah, that was a good thing. Kind of made her very vulnerable there.
Yeah, and again, it's another. Oh, then it cuts to that scene of the gardens at Versailles. Oh my God,
that's so bright. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Yeah.
It's just it just is like, boom, right in your face.
Right.
The color, the green, the shapes, and so beautiful. And then we get Jamie still in the kilt. Love Jamie in the kilt. Out at the royal stables.
Right.
And that great brown dress with the flowers on it.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting when you look at all the bright colors, and yet she's dressed in that brown with all that going on around her. Everybody's brightly dressed and very, very visible. And her dress, just in its simplicity and the embroidery, makes it quite impressive. So
yeah.
I think Terry's talked about finding that fabric.
Oh yeah, there's a great blog post about it.
Yeah, I saw that. So that's cool.
So yeah, and I love the interaction between Jamie and the Duke here.
Uh-huh.
Because I like what they've done with the Duke this season. The way they've characterized him this season, because last season he was very over the top, ridiculous.
Right.
You know, hard to take him seriously. This season they've made him so much more conniving, and you know, just the way Simon Cowell's playing him, it's much more, I don't know, it just gives you the creeps. You know, he seems much more dangerous this season,
right,
than he ever did.
He's talking in two different ways, though. You know, first he's this, then he's that, and so it's very duplicitous, whatever.
Yeah.
It's because he says one thing and then he says something else that's contrary, and it's kind of interesting. It's interesting how he is playing.
He's a man with two faces. He's a man playing both sides.
Right, playing both sides.
So
right.
That's what we're getting from him, is the fact that we get these two different faces from him, because he is, on the one hand, supporting the Jacobites, but on the other hand, he's been in cahoots with Blackjack Randall to harass the Scots in Scotland.
Right. So he's playing both.
So,
that's good.
And then he's just, like I said, he's so much of what he says has a double entendre to it. It's got a double meaning, you know?
Right.
Yeah, he's just talking about it being such a good judge of horseflesh. How could he be such a poor judge of character in men? And that Jamie coming down and being able to say to someone, I see the prince for what he is.
Right.
You know? But is able to say that James is the true king, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, you know,
it's not the prince.
And right there, when Jamie had brought him to this gorgeous black stallion or brown stallion, that gorgeous horse with the black mane, and saying that he was a wonderful piece of horse flesh, and the Duke saying, but I want to see a few more because I'm a man who cherishes options.
Right.
You know, again, that's got a double meaning.
It does, yeah. That's true.
He obviously he's keeping multiple options open in this whole political maneuvering, conniving that he's doing. Like we were just saying, playing both sides.
Right.
So, and I don't get that next scene with Claire and Annalise. I don't understand why we needed that. You know, all of that talking
really?
to the two of them.
But she was pointing out how Jamie's changed and grown, and he's a man now. I think that was just more lip service to show that, you know, Jamie's not what he used to be in her eyes either. You know, he's not a boy. He's grown, he's matured.
I was again listening to something, and they pointed out the fact that from the time he was 8 years old, Jamie was the laird apparent. You know, he was the heir to Lollybrock.
Right.
Which means he was always going to be involved in clan politics. He's been involved in clan politics since he was, 10 years old. So that whole being simple when Annalise knew him just meant that was the face that he showed to Annalise.
Right, when he was there as a young man, right.
Yeah, so she didn't actually know Jamie. She knew what Jamie showed her. So all of those little snide comments about, he wasn't like that when I knew him. He was much simpler. He was impulsive.
But he was impulsive. I mean, we knew that from the story.
Oh, he's still impulsive.
Yeah, but I think that, like you said, but I think someone in Paris would see a Scotsman, even a laird, as somebody simple. I mean, they don't. I could see that kind of politics in Paris isn't what Jamie really would be. Not that he's not good at it, but it's not really something he has to deal with. You said clan politics.
I think it has everything to do with how the French view the Scots.
Right, that's what I mean. They view them as
all she saw of him was this Scottish warrior, rugged, simple guy, because that's how they see all Scots.
Right. Correct.
They'll never attribute, highly intelligent, thinking, educated, any of that to a Scot, because what she wanted was the impulsive, romantic, dashing guy in a kilt.
Right. Correct. I agree.
So she saw what she wanted to see and never looked any deeper.
Okay.
So that's my interpretation of it.
No, you're right. That's a good way to look at it. That she didn't. Yeah.
That she never really knew Jamie.
And I don't think she ever really seriously considered him as a suitor, even back then. He was just one of her many admirers. They didn't really go into it here, but that's what we know from the book, is that she was quite the Scarlett O'Hara.
Yeah,
lots of suitors.
I'm sure the one she married was somebody who had some kind of a small title or money or something in French society, because that's the whole thing. She would never have considered marrying and going back to Scotland.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
But I really think we got that whole thing simply so that she could be the one to point out that the shark was in the distance circling Claire. The shark being Blackjack.
Right.
So because they brought him in and they did that whole blur out, he's
slow-mo.
Slow motion. He's not, he's out of focus, and then show him walking up. And then he's just calling her Claire. I just wanted to smack him so hard. Like, how dare he call her Claire?
Right.
So, and then how dare he say Jamie's name?
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, ugh.
But that shows his arrogance at feeling that he's an intimate part of that, that they are intimately known to each other.
That they have shared something.
Yeah.
He and Claire have shared something.
Right.
Black and Claire have shared something, so that they should be on the same level.
Yeah. But this is his way to, continue to turn the knife, basically, on what he's done and what he, the whole situation. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why he seems surprised that Jamie is there, because they totally blew it over the way that they did it in the book, where he thought she had remarried in the book. Which I don't even know why he thought Jamie was dead, other than he was just left so horribly damaged that he must have died from his wounds, because I know it.
From the book, I would have been, when I was thinking about it, I'm like, well, wouldn't they, if he was a prisoner who was supposed to be hanged,
he would
have assumed that somebody would have hanged him, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but Black Jack would have known if he had been hanged. He had to know that he got out of the prison, but I don't know why he. The book never made sense
to me when he assumed that Jamie was dead and she had remarried, because it's like, he would have known for sure. He would have known for sure whether or not Jamie lived or died, because there would have been a record at.
Right.
So yeah, I was always a little confused.
So when he's here, and he seemed surprised that Jamie would be at court and Claire's there. Like, would she just go without? I don't know. It's kind of strange. Kind of strange that they've left that weird little bit in there.
But yeah, I mean, and that his whole attitude toward her, and daring to put his hands on her. It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
he's at that same level as he was the last time he saw her. You know, he knew he had everything over on her. He had her husband under his thumb, and he was going to do whatever he wanted to him. And he was taking her, seeing her safely out of the prison by dropping her through the trapdoor with all the dead bodies.
Right. Yeah, or dropping her through the refuse pit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we get the whole, you know, the king showing up. And the king here is so condescendingly French. You know? He's so royally condescendingly French.
Right.
That just, the first time I watched it, I was actually really uncomfortable for Jack.
Yeah, well, that was the point. Is like I don't know where I saw the question, but would a British soldier show up at French court in a uniform? Because they were the countries were at odds, and so even though he's a soldier, would he have been welcome in a uniform? You know, he should have been in regular clothes. I don't know, because I don't know what the diplomacy was between the two countries, or how that would work.
Well, except the Duke of Sandringham is welcome at court.
Well, but he's just a British guy. I mean, he's just a businessman or
he's not a businessman. He is British. You know, he's kind of up.
Well, he's right. Yeah, no, I don't mean it that way, but I just mean from the military side of it. Would you be welcome in a military uniform at court when you have no reason to be in a uniform at court? I don't know. I mean, I get it, but that just let them, just like the prince, or just like the king said, you know, we don't usually see this here. You know,
right?
Your uniform, we don't normally see that here. So,
well, it's because I think it's him that he would have done it even if it wasn't done. Because that's where his power base comes from, is being a captain in the British Army. You know, he sees that.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Status and power, and he is going to flaunt that everywhere he goes.
Yeah, that is his status. So, yes, right.
So, and then seeing Jamie, I mean, we're just seeing Jamie walking up behind them. And this scene between the two of them.
That was great, though.
Oh, the tension, even watching it on my phone the first time, in this, you know, phone this big. I had a hard time breathing during this scene.
Right.
And the whole thing where he says, I heard
that was a good scene.
Incident, sheep was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole getting out of bed difficulty getting out of bed on cold mornings. I absolutely, that is a dig and a reminder to him of the last time he saw him.
Oh, sure. That was a great little word battle and image battle that the two of them had there.
Yeah, and like I said, to me, that was Jack reminding Jamie exactly where he was the last time he saw him. Because otherwise, Jack would never have that friend, would never admit to any kind of weakness. You know, I cannot see him. He would have brushed it aside. Say it's of no consequence, rather than saying, you know, I have trouble getting out of bed on a cold morning. So, but this whole thing, seeing him down on his knees, like I said, the first time I watched it, I was a little uncomfortable for him. And then I'm thinking to myself, why are you uncomfortable for him? He is an ass. He is this terrible, terrible person. You should be
right.
And so when I watched it, especially when I watched it on my TV, my big TV.
But you also think that now he's really, really pissed off. Now he's very pissed off because he's been put in a bad spot in front of the king, and he's forced into it, And you know he's pissed. So now he's going to be extra mad because it happened in front of these people that he wants to lord it over himself. So I thought that was kind of bad, even though, laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole, that seeing Jamie smile with him on his knees was just, I loved that whole thing. And then Claire getting them out of there. Basically, she's like, oh my God, we got to get out of here.
Right. Or we die of laughter.
Well, before Jamie loses it,
Yeah.
So.
Right.
And then issuing the duel here, I'm a little concerned about how, when we get to the next scene, and this is the first time I think he's called her Sassenach in a while. Because he keeps calling her Claire. Jamie keeps calling her Claire. And again, I heard the Mop girls, the My Outlander Purgatory girls, complaining about that he should be calling her Sassenach all the time. He never calls her Claire. Except my thought is, they're playing different people. Here in France,
right,
she's not Sassenach. She's Claire Fraser, because that's the role he's playing. He is Jamie Fraser Laird Brock Turok, which, that's him, but he's got this other underlying role that he's playing. So, it's not so much that she's Sassenach here. So I've been absolutely fine with him calling her Claire, because I felt like it was a reminder that they are not themselves.
I didn't even notice it. So, I didn't even notice it, because I think Sassenach is a term of endearment. It's not like something he really uses a lot in conversation with other people anyway.
Right. He calls her Claire when he's talking to other people, but when he was talking to her,
it
was always Sassenach when they were in Scotland.
Yeah, but that's a personal thing between the two of them too. Like I said, if they were in a room full of people, he wouldn't yell across the room, "Hey, Sassenach." He's gonna still call her, my wife or Claire or whatever. So, I never thought anything of it as far as that goes. I'm not a good book fan, I guess.
Evidently not. And then we get Jamie going back to issue challenge for the duel. And when he
I
comes
wish they'd actually shown that they actually showed that. Yeah, I wish they had showed that conversation. Just to hear it, because
I don't know. I'm okay.
I think they missed an opportunity.
Yeah, I was okay with just seeing
it from Claire's point of view,
seeing them talk and seeing it from Claire's perspective, and wondering what the hell was happening.
Right.
So when he comes back and says, I challenged him to a duel and he accepted. He said he owed me a death.
Yeah.
So
a debt.
No, it's a death. The line is death. DEATH.
I thought it was debt. DEBT.
Nope.
Okay.
The writer himself came out and said, nope, it's death. Although it did kind of read out and sound like debt. It's death.
Yeah, I heard that. Okay.
Because if you think about it, the last thing that Jamie says to him before he leaves that cell in Wentworth is, "You owe me a death." Because that's what Blackjack promised him.
Right, was to kill him. Yeah.
Was a clean death.
Right.
So, and that's Jack, acknowledging that he does still owe him that death.
Okay.
Because the first time I heard it, I thought it was debt, and then I saw the interview. I saw some interviews or some Twitter stuff with Richard Cahan, and he said, no, the line was written death.
Okay.
As in to die.
Huh. Yeah.
So, and then, from here on out, we get Jamie, gleeful and telling Fergus it's a wonderful day, and gonna go plan with
Yeah.
Murtaugh and Claire, and again we get Dark Jamie in this, in the carriage. Just the look on his face, the little half smile as he's picturing, you know, what he's gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we get Claire riding off to the Bastille to swear out a complaint against Jack. Which
that whole scene was weird, because he hops out of the carriage in the courtyard, you know, trots into the house all gleeful with Dragon Fergus behind him, by Murtaugh, and then she just like slams the door and says, "Take me to the Bastille," and nobody notices. And then when he and Murtaugh are in there talking, here she trots in there, not like, "Well, where did you go?" It's amazing how he just was not cognizant that she left, that she didn't even follow him into the house. And I thought that was interesting.
I think it was because he was so focused.
Yeah.
And
yes, that's what I mean.
All he was thinking about was the fact that he's going to be able to fight this duel. He's going to be able to kill this man. And so he's got to find Murtaugh. They've got to get it set up. He's got to get, you know, find out who his second's going to be.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I just thought that was interesting. And she's able to just take off at dusk, you know, and go off into wherever the Bastille is in Paris. I'm sure it's not in the best of neighborhoods, by herself. Here, she'd only just been attacked a day or two before. And now she's off in somewhere near the Bastille, going to hop out of a carriage and trot inside to swear a complaint against this character. And then come back after dark, and nobody noticed that she never made it into the house.
Well, I think
the first time, I thought that.
I think it goes to show that he's very used to her coming and going as she pleases. You know?
But it's still after dark, or two after an attack.
I know. It's
so
because
that's why I find that
so absolutely focused on this thing that he
was going to do.
Getting to do and wants to do. So and then you know, we have her coming in saying you're not going to do it because he's in the Bastille, he's not available.
Right.
And then her yelling at Murtaugh, you know.
Right, get out of the room.
So, and this is where we get the whole, because of Frank. Saying because of Frank, and you know, this it's downhill from here. Right.
Oh yeah, this is bad.
I mean, it's a wonderful scene. It's a wonderful scene. The two of them are amazing in this scene. But
sure, the acting.
It's just, I mean, it is heartbreaking. Sam is absolutely amazing in this scene.
Right.
I mean,
it is absolutely, it's an incredible scene, and they did a great job with it. It's just it's such a negative portrayal of their heroine in this whole situation and her motives. And she was so wrong, as you know by what I wrote in Facebook. She is so wrong about who owes who what that it's just crazy. It's ridiculous. And she doesn't know it. I couldn't figure out where two deaths I'm thinking, or two lives, because I couldn't. I'm like, what lives? Whose life? You haven't really saved Jamie any more than he saved you.
Well, yeah, I mean, because she's not thinking about the time she was saved.
Right.
Thinking about the time when she arranged for him to be rescued out of Wentworth.
Right.
And
correct. And again, if they had played the Abbey the way it was written in the book, I could see where she did save his life in the book, but she didn't in the show. And I'll never believe that was any kind of life-threatening situation. You know, he wasn't sick. He wasn't wasted away to nothing. You know,
well, but he was suicidal.
He was suicidal, but he still had to sort himself out. You know, she didn't do that. So.
Well, she'll claim credit for it because she's the one who went to him and said, you know, if you are going to die, I'm going to die right here with you.
Right. But I don't know. I still don't. Like I said, half a life, 0.5 life. Thanks for fixing the hand. Nah, I just, she is so wrong. and so wrong. And thank goodness that they played her that way. I think it's perfect, actually. I'm glad they don't make her the perfect heroine like any other bodice ripper, because she's not. She's not. She's wrong.
No, get down from there, Gracie. Sorry. My dinner plate is sitting on a TV tray next to the couch.
Oh no.
And she's helping herself to the juice that's left on the tray or on the plate.
Right.
But yeah, I've had issues with how perfect they have made her.
Oh, okay.
Over the past season and a half. Not now, but the past season and a half.
Right, yeah.
You know, she's this perfect
Supergirl.
She's Super Claire.
Yeah, Super Claire. Wonder Woman. So here's a step down, hopefully.
Yeah, and the fact that she's almost been arrogantly condescending to the people around her because she knows the future.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Almost this condescending know-it-all.
Right.
Like, I know the future. You need to do what I say, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it, and you do this, and you do that.
Right, and yet...
made me crazy.
We've already been shown how she doesn't really know, because Jamie says, well, how do we do that? She says, I don't know. I don't know. That was on the first episode. Well, I don't know exactly how it works out.
She's taken that little bit of knowledge that she has and just
turned it into a dangerous thing, obviously.
Yeah, just the way she was treating him like he was a child.
Yeah.
And that she knew better, and that they were going to do what she said they should do.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was well acted. This whole scene, this last scene was well acted. Definitely the Emmy reel. One part of the Emmy reel is this last scene.
Yeah, well, and then that whole thing of him telling her not to touch him. I actually loved that.
That was good. Yeah.
Because it was like she thought that, once he capitulated and did what she wanted, that she was going to be able to go right back and get right back in, and he's letting her know things are not okay. What you've asked me to do and got me to promise to do for you is not okay. Right.
It's a big deal. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't know, like, about the previews for next week. I'm like, well, they got over that real fast. So
and that's why I posted the one from Australia, because the trailer from Australia is a whole lot darker.
Yeah. Now, and then the other one the only one I saw was the one, I think it's from Europe. That was, or maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It was a good trailer. Whatever one. Was that Australia?
It was the Australian. Soho is the Australian.
Oh, okay. I know it was in English, but I thought it was from Europe. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was a lot darker. Gave you a different.
Yeah, it gave a whole different tone to next week's episode. Here they showed us the whole light and.
Yeah, funny and
a lot more lighthearted. Bits.
Right. I thought, well, boy, they got over that little last scene on this show real fast then. So they're going to cover a lot of ground next week, I see.
Yeah, because we're going to get the big climactic, tragedy that's coming.
Yeah. Right. It's all going to happen next week. So.
Because next week's episode is Best Laid Schemes. I think is the name of the episode's Best Laid Schemes. So we're getting the whole scheme to
the whole smallpox
smallpox on the boat scheme. And then there's some other stuff going on, because the clips they're showing, I think maybe they've changed some stuff and added some stuff. Because there's a lot more with the cult.
It's gonna be a big show next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think we're going to get a clash between Jamie and Blackjack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like that's probably how they're going to climax next week.
Yeah.
And the show next week. Yeah.
And then the week after
Yeah,
that
going to be a lot happening.
Is Faith, and I can't decide what they're going to do that whole. They're going to spend a whole episode on that.
Well, yeah, but well, I don't know. Maybe they'll pull some other stuff up, because I'm still saying they're going to run some of her present day pregnancy, so they may throw that in the next one. Her modern pregnancy.
We're not seeing any of that.
I still say they're going to do that. Spoiler.
We're not seeing any more. We're not seeing any more Frank this season. There is no more Frank in this season.
That he said in an interview that there was.
According to Tobias Menzies, we do not see Frank anymore this season.
Okay, but I misunderstood that interview that he did.
Spoilers from here on out. So anybody who's watching who doesn't want to be spoiled, go away. Bye-bye. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah. So spoilers from
speculation on what they're going to do with our show.
Yeah, no, I think when we get through...
Yeah, I thought that interview said that he had said.
No, I'm pretty sure that... I can't remember who posted it. A couple of different places posted and pulled out that quote where he said, "There's no more Frank this season." So no, what I think we're going to get is I think we're going to get Faith. We're going to get... The Fox's Lair could be the Star Chamber episode, unless they fold the Star Chamber into the end of Faith, which they may. You know, the first half hour of Faith.
Because that all happens. That all happens during that time frame of her. Jamie's gone, or Jamie's been released from the. Well, Jamie's in the Bastille. She's lost the baby.
She goes to the king, and she goes to the king.
You know, and then she goes to the king. And then you get the Star Chamber. He gets released and immediately supposed to follow through on the whole smallpox thing. So he's gone. He's not even in France anymore. You know, he's gone ahead and met up with Murtaugh. I mean, in the book.
Yeah.
So she's all by herself and not knowing what's going on but she knew that Jamie had to get, if they were going to set up and, you know, ruin that thing for the prince and for the comte, they had to do their little scheme, their little smallpox scheme. And so that's why she makes sure to get him out of the Bastille. And then he's gone. He has to leave town. He can't go to her. So there's that whole thing. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. It'll be interesting to see how they all that out.
A lot of stuff to cram into the episode called Faith. So that's why I keep thinking the Fox's Lair. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it could go either way. It either could be that, or it could be him going right back to Scotland and immediately going to his grandfather's. I mean, it could be either way. Because that's kind of a Fox's Lair, too.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people were assuming, but it was like it wouldn't surprise me at all.
But that should come.
They didn't even do Simon Lovett. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they skipped all of that.
No, they've got an actor. They hired an actor, a big actor somebody from Game of Thrones. They've got it to play Lovett. Yeah, so no, they're going to do it. Yeah, they got a guy that's hired, unless they just totally decided not to film him. But they announced who he was.
Yeah.
So and
I saw Sam post.
And that's a big deal anyway. They have to have it.
They have to have him. Why?
Oh, they have to have that connection to Simon to Lovett. You have to have that connection to Lovett, because that informs in the future. I mean, if anything, you gotta be able to hook all that up. I mean, that's a big deal. Jamie's on the rolls. Jamie is on the rolls for the. I know. I mean, they can get around it, but they already hired an actor, so they're going to go there. They're going to do it. They're going to play it through.
Well,
so.
See, I think we'll get all the Scotland stuff, and
Sam
tweeted the fact that he had just finished voiceover work on the final episode.
Oh yeah.
And so
yeah,
I
but
keep
they do
wondering.
loops. They loop stuff all the time.
I know, but I'm just wondering how much he was going to
Yeah.
be in the final episode, because I really think once she goes through the stones, when they show us with him sending her that when
Right,
she
that's the
comes
last
to the
you see.
stones, that it's going to actually be 1968.
Oh yeah. They'll cut right straight to 1968 for the last
And it'll
show.
be
I
her
just
and Roger and Bree sitting in a room in the Reverend's house, in the Reverend Wakefield's house.
right. He's telling him the story. But you know what? I will go on a limb and say the very final shot of this season is going to be him lying on the field at Culloden and his eyes are going to open. And I'm not kidding. He's going to say, "I thought I was dead."
Well, I
And
was
that's
thinking
going to be
I
the
was
last
thinking
thing.
that the last shot could be him with, Blackjack laying over him, because that's how,
Yeah. He's going to be laying on the ground. There's going to be blood. There's going to be dead bodies. And he's going to open his eyes. And yeah, you'll probably see you might see Blackjack, you might not, because that's a whole nother shocker to find out that, they've killed, he's killed him, or he's got his dead body laying on him. But I could see him laying on the field with all the dead bodies and smoke. And you think he's dead because she thinks he's dead. And I think he's going to just open his eyes, and then you'll get the "I thought I was dead." So I'm gonna say that's the last shot you'll see, because they got to set it up for next year, next year and a half,
or
18 months from now.
I could have seen them ending with just the way the book ends, with just Roger saying he meant to die on that field, but he didn't.
But he didn't. But I still think that they'll give you a visual.
The visual would be
I think they'll give you the visual. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Roger will say what he's saying, and then you'll see James wake up. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, so it's over. This season's over. Let's go on to next season.
Yeah, well, hoping we still get
this was a good episode, though. It really was a very engaging episode.
Yeah, it was a very good episode, and that writer was a first-time writer. Not just a first-time writer on Outlander. That was his first script for television that he'd ever written.
Wow. That's really good then. Well, he did a good job.
He was Ira Stephen Bear writer's
assistant. Did he ever
assistant.
say, is he a book reader? Or? Okay. Is he a book reader too, or was he really flying blind?
I don't know. But like I said, he was Ira Stephen Bear's writer's assistant from last season. And just general assistant. So he's been with Ira Stephen Bear for a while. So he's been with the show from the beginning.
Okay.
He just wasn't an actual writer. He was an actor.
Okay. Well, he did a good job. Did a real good job.
So yeah, I thought he did a great
good work.
With what? Because he was given the script that brought back Blackjack. Holy crap! I would have assumed that was going to be Ira Stephen Bear.
Right. Yeah.
But
so obviously they felt he could do it. So.
Yeah. So he was. I thought he did a wonderful
job. All these scripts, though, they've all had some high points. All these scripts have had to hit some high points that are, making sure that the big points are being put up.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Very good.
Yeah. So I'm absolutely okay with where things are and how things ended, and I mean, I knew what was coming because I've read the book, but
right.
So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to next week or this coming week. Next week. This coming week.
Yeah, this coming week.
Yeah, I get so confused when we don't do this till Monday.
Yeah.
So
like we're already waiting for the next episode.
We will end tonight, and next week, is it next week we're going to have to meet on Tuesday?
Tuesday. That's good.
And next week I have to work Monday night, so we'll have to meet on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's good. I got a date with Jackson Brown next Monday.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, next Tuesday.
I'm bringing friends, though. I'll have friends with me, so it's not like anything's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the video feed in the thread and say bye, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, thread.
And then I'll end our thing here and say see everybody next week.
Yeah, hopefully
So.
they'll join us.
Yep, I'll post the video in the thread, and anybody who wants to watch can watch, and hopefully we can get a few more people in next week. I keep posting and encouraging.
Yeah.
So. Okay. I'm going to stop this feed, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
All right.